Middleman.
Let those who have stolen our commonwealth return the loot. We want to develop this country.
When we hear domestic violence, we think of a woman being beaten by her husband or a man being stabbed by his wife.
Find our kinsmen. Mr. President, His Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to our cries. Because the people so disempowered have offsprings. The offsprings that are coming after them are born into that disempowerment.
You cannot have a governor that was useless for 8 years go to the Senate because they have INEC in their hands. We must gather.
Many half men today, they have become half, not because they would rather be so, but because poverty has been decreed upon them by the state.
I first of all check my shoe.
Middleman. Middleman.
Hello, once again, and welcome to the Middleman. We're jurors here, and the jurors are back with you on a fresh episode. I am Juror Olajumoke Alawode James. Today, Juror Emeka Madunago is being used at the police raid on the NLC offices in Abuja, while Juror Evans Fufeli will be examining the power of naked bodies as part of political protests. Juror Cyril Abaku will be zeroing in on the continuing rebellion President Tinubu continues to face from the northern political class, and I will be looking at soldiers curiously keeping vigil for democracy. All of these conversations will happen in a bit. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Middleman.
And you're welcome back to the Middleman. My case: democracy and soldiers. Military men are trained to fight external battles. Why do we then use them for internal quelling of protests or riots? People who are trained to kill the enemy, we send them into the midst of civilians and expect them to treat them like friends. Amnesty International is brandishing over 1,000 names of people arrested during last week's #EndBadGovernance protest in Nigeria. Then you see headlines like soldiers sent to effect curfew, kill 5 in Bauchi, injure 8. You send armed forces to effect curfews in Kaduna, Kano, Bauchi, send them to effect monthly sanitation in Kwara, and not expect dead bodies to roll? They play. Is the punishment for disobeying curfews death? If it isn't, why do we send forces who are trained to kill? Or you expect armed officers to suddenly behave like civil defense? Is Nigeria still a democracy? There were violent riots in the UK in the last week. No live ammunitions were used. It is in peaceful protests made violent by the political thugs that we use live ammunition. What's the place of a soldier in a democracy? This is my verdict. I think Nigeria has witnessed so many military interregna that we cannot differentiate what should be from what's an abnormality. Section 55 of the 1999 Constitution as amended is abundantly clear. Stay clear. We need reorientation for leaders as well as citizens. The Nigerian police force cannot even control peaceful protests. They watch when thugs attack peaceful protesters, then shoot at unarmed citizens. Like NSAS, like end bad governance.
And what's the next thing we want to end?
We need to end
Tinubu.
so many things in Nigeria. Nigeria is is plagued with such an unfortunate drama. And to say the least, this is avoidable.
Yeah.
Okay. We had an election in 2023 to have a transition according to the Constitution. The law is that a president will rule for 4 years, after which he has another option of another 4 years, or he leaves it up there. So that was our crime. People went to the polls and somebody emerged the winner. That man, which is the current president, on the day he was inaugurated, he has not seen the handover notes. He has not been president before. He does not know the content of what it is to govern. He does not even know anything about how to govern from the center. He had only been a governor before. And he had been a governor for so many years ago when he was quite younger.
20 years.
What a reasonable person ought to have done was to at least get into office before you start policies.
Bam.
Okay? Assemble your ministers. You brainstorm on that very critical area. Then the ministers will all come up with a solution, something that look like that will advance the people's life and not the one that will destroy whatever is left of Nigeria from the bad administration of the previous
Evans,
president.
why is it so visible to you and you think it's not visible to the political class? They know what they're doing.
They didn't say it wasn't visible to them.
This solution that every Nigerian on this street knows.
So.
Now, the people are protesting. Instead of you to allow them to air their grievances and all that, you came in claiming that you want to deliver a speech.
They will.
You came to deliver nonsense.
Manifesto.
What you delivered became, you laid down further promises and you have not even
fulfilled the former ones.
The ones you laid down before.
God.
So at the end of the day, what you have is just one president who is so arrogant to admit his faults.
Wow.
Who does not want to reconsider his stand, and who feels the people have no moral justification to tell him how to lead. That's the summary of that speech.
But are you
so are we a democracy?
No, before we go there,
it's not a democracy.
Are you surprised? He has a chief of staff, who actually instigated soldiers to go and abduct a journalist, Segun Olatunji, from his home some time back. Now, when those soldiers saw that, when the military saw that they had put themselves in a tight corner, they came out to start citing somewhere one strange provision that they can be called in to do DMI, Director of Military Intelligence, can be called in to do one thing. And it's all just shameful. You see people around here.
Do they know the Constitution?
No. But the people is a lawyer.
The military who are saying that they can be called in.
So when you now get to the point of, you look at the military, they've not been able to tame criminal headsmen. They've not tamed Boko Haram. One of them was saying, who has been so really garrulous, the chief of defense staff, General Chris Musa, has been talking, saying all kinds of things. And I wonder if somebody wouldn't call him and tell him, General, will you please stop?
Simmer down.
Because he has forgotten that all of these things he said are on record.
And the internet never forgets.
And he cannot come out like Major General John Enenche, who was defense spokesman during NSAS, that said all manner of things. Then, when he wanted to join the Labour Party presidential campaign, the youth told him they didn't want to see him.
Yeah.
And he started saying no. He now tried, to gaslight people, to change the narrative of what happened. And they rolled out the videos of his speeches.
True.
This is the same thing. When these people retire, tomorrow you will even see some of them as pro-democracy activists. So what it tells you is that the arrogance that people wear on their shoulders when they get into public office has become a big disease in Nigeria.
If we continue this way, what SARS was meant to be.
Yeah.
That's an elite unit of the police force.
Yeah.
Take care of specialist.
Armed robbery, kidnapping.
Yes, of course.
It's not an elite unit. To take over highway robbers.
I know, but I mean,
contend with them.
Yeah, sure, but you won't just be a normal police officer. It's like what you have. You
have special training.
Yes, now like EFCC has special training too.
So later on, what did they wind up doing? They wound up settling this between us.
Because they recruited thugs.
They wound up beginning to be, if somebody is owing you, they can collect the debt for you. The DSS is involved in that kind of thing. You remember that in Abuja some months ago, somebody had a clutch with a tailor who disappointed him. Then DSS people came and
to harass the tailor.
And somebody was killed in the process.
Do you know that when the use of something is unknown?
I'm coming to a point. They arm you too. That somebody was repairing their phone, somebody's phone for them. Then the phone repairer wanted. Then soldiers came to, and then they shut down that Barnes Plaza.
Yes.
We have gotten to you see, when these things continue, the way police is nothing in anybody's eyes anymore.
Now, putting the angular market
is the same way. will equally completely lose its place.
I agree.
What we must do, imagine now, look at Chief of Defense Staff. There are people who in this country, you only know their names, but you will never, I don't think I ever saw any Chief of Defense Staff or in the past addressing the country on a regular, it wasn't normal.
So, but abuse has become inevitable.
Because
when the purpose is unknown.
Yes, because if they're going to the fray, when you're on the ground, more will touch you. If not, a defense chief of defense is going to address the nation. That would like it need to be a big thing. But now people are protesting on the road over bread and water and lack of pure water. It is the head of the defense, the army, the Air Force is one coming to address Nigerians and telling us that beware
under democracy.
You know, he said
so we are a military democracy, huh?
Wait, see what he said now.
The confusion now.
Before the began, he said, if you own a smartphone, a phone, you are a target of hoodlums who want to hijack the protest. If you have a car, you are a target of people who want to hijack protest. If you use AC in your house, they're targeting you. I needed to show Mr. CDS. Why are you not using your power, your intelligence to stop those hoodlums?
Yes.
You are even preventing to arrest them.
Not protest.
They are the ones who bring the hoodlums now.
You are the one telling us the description of people that want to hijack protest.
Exactly.
Did they not tell us that foreign hijackers were coming?
What it means is that you already know the identity of the people.
Exactly. That's what I'm going now.
Who want to take over, who want to hijack the protest.
Yes.
Now, what are you doing about it?
You are telling us, warning us.
You are lecturing us.
Basically, that's even scaremongering. Saying don't come out, don't come out.
And don't say.
Exactly now.
Look at the
Then the idea of police, in order not to be outdone, also looked for his own way of entering the matter. He said there are terrorists who are about to come and hijack the situation from Mali and from other. Well, I don't know if he said Mali, but he just said that they are coming to hijack the. No, you call them foreign mercenaries.
Foreign mercenaries.
You see, but like I said,
they will say it's from intelligence.
Even if people like that, I believe it was a lie. But even if they were to come to it, so because people are protesting for hunger, if they don't hear that they are coming, they will leave the protest and run to the houses because when they go, they just will bring food and give to them to eat. When government has refused to address the problem that is causing them to go and protest.
No, my question is this: why did President Tinubu address the nation?
Because he was told
now
to.
there's even
He ought not to have
there's
addressed
even
the
a mix
nation.
of right.
No, in a democracy, you ought to address the nation. If you were outside of the country, for instance, you will immediately come back to address the issue. Hold on, sir. We're protesting. Hold on, sir. Hold on. Yeah, that's it. Because you are saying why is why I'm answering you. In a democracy,
He addressed the nation.
when people are
Address the issue.
when in a democracy, when the nation is protesting for something, right? I mean, when Kenyan youth came on the streets and were saying, "Oh, take back the finance tax, tax on staple and all of that," the president even had spaces on X to address the nation.
Yes.
So, in a democracy, you want to respond to the queries of your citizens.
Tinubu joined that space.
But
They have agents now.
the DSS were there.
But unfortunately, when the purpose of something is unknown, abuse is inevitable, which is why he came and presented a manifesto like we are electing him for 2027.
Was he supposed to address the issue or the nation?
He was supposed to address the issue. Obviously, he doesn't have solutions to hunger.
To address the issues, he didn't even have to.
No, he could have. I think he should have. I think he should have.
If you wanted to,
I agree.
Yes.
We have been planning the protests, for months.
Yes.
We could easily have found the solution before we went on the street.
Exactly.
But
So
the military
how
should not
start?
even be in democracy at all. We are supposed to use the military to fight external battles. Do not use live ammunition or armed forces against peaceful protesters carrying leaves. It's an abnormality, and we, the media, ought to say it to our elites. You better stop now before the people turn on you.
You made reference earlier
And
to
that
the,
is all for
to
this
the UK.
case.
Let me just drop this to the UK. Protesters are taking the battle to the state. They are not just protesting. They are taking the battle to the state, and yet they are not being shot at. They're not being fired on. Police people are, sometimes they
We'll guard them.
They were
They will only arrest the people who make violence.
annoying the policemen.
Then you see them use those shields.
Shields.
Yes.
Nigerian police does not use those things. So.
They don't have.
Their own is
Their own is like them. Did you see Rambo, a Nigerian police officer? like he was in war. Since they don't go to war now.
Well, there
was even one who had a grenade against peaceful protesters.
Did you see the one that had juju?
You know
Prince Olumuyiwa said that one
under that red band. Somebody called it two-factor authentication.
Police PRO say that is.
But you know they have a shrine inside command now.
Yes.
They have a shrine inside command.
Anyway, that's all we'll take on this case. When we return, Jiro Emeka Madunagu will follow the Nigerian police to the NLC offices in Abuja. Whatever books have got to do with it, well, who knows what they found there. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Middleman.
You welcome back to the middleman. My case. Protesters rejected books. Police impounded them. Last week's End Bad Governors protest had a number of interesting, albeit strange dimensions. These revealed the underlying but disparate issues facing us as a nation. One of them was the alleged invasion of the National Library in Kano by protesters. They reportedly looted everything, waste baskets, brooms, but wait for this, but they left the books intact. To them, the books were no immediate solution in resolving the hardship and hunger in Nigeria. It was just about grabbing what could be easily converted to personal use or traded for commercial gains. In a twist, the police invaded the national headquarters of the Nigerian Labour Congress in Abuja on Wednesday night, and this time impounded books in his library. Reports said the police alleged that the books contained inciting materials that motivated the protesters. I mean, within just the raid of just about an hour, the police quickly rifled through. Okay, maybe you just screamed, what? If Nigerian police were so intellectually inclined, they would have since found solutions to the issue bedeviling the force. When the police read the books and swiftly concluded that they contained materials that, wait a minute, incited protesters who ignored books in the library. This must qualify as the 9th or 10th wonder of the world. My verdict, like they say on the streets, Agbada don't hook baboya. Like someone said, if you want to hide something from an African, put it in a book. Maybe the Nigerian police have found a new way of rifling through many books in raise of a few hours and bringing them out, to give to uninterested people. So the non-China protesters should be enrolled in special police schools to understand why books should hold an attraction for them.
But
so the police are now the ones reading.
So they have detained books just so that people who will read those books have a tendency to get themselves inflamed. But the truth is that books can actually ignite protests. And for those protesters who went to loot the library and didn't take books, hunger also have a capacity to ignite both sides, okay? Yes. So the police are not so wrong. But the truth is that it is not the physical books that ignites the protest. It is what is stored in the head already.
True.
So when you carry the book, you cannot.
So that the rest of us cannot read it.
Yeah, what is in the head already?
Those of us are not ready to not see it to read.
So that you don't go and protest immediately.
Yes.
This appears to be like one very parody, okay, that you could put into literary use to see how the police are so confused as to why don't you, as a country, okay, make life bearable for the people by making provisions.
But the police are hungry.
The real purpose of that has not been revealed.
The police are hungry.
Which police are they going to store those books?
They are raiding NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress, to carry books that will incite protesters. But you see, the protest led by the NLC.
But you see, it's even to imagine that an organ of society like NLC still has a place where they store keep books. Yes, that's a commendable thing. NLC has. Obviously, the kind of books NLC will keep won't be Adam Smith and it will most likely Marx and Engels.
Yes,
and Marxist books, and because they are pro people, as they say, pro labor, right?
Please, which of the police?
But I wonder, even the NLC does not behave like people who are reading.
Yes.
So why would the police conclude?
They never tell us why they go there.
Why would the police conclude that this people?
Another angle.
Don't time the NLC is called a pass mark. Was this last protest?
Strike.
This last strike.
What is every other one?
I don't know.
When it gets to
that are not,
when it gets to midnight, they'll say due to circumstances. Everything.
They never look at people.
So why would the police conclude that this whole thing is just about books? For me, I think it's bigger.
Yes, now everybody's hungry. ABT call everybody.
Yeah, so for you to go and detain books just so that people will not
I hope
does it make sense?
I hope doesn't.
We won't hear some months or weeks down the line that
The books have been sold.
no, that during the raid some other things went missing.
Aha.
And the whole police didn't go with their dog.
Oh.
That's
You heard that they went with 46 dogs. The only 3 dogs came back.
Because the dogs they have mistakenly
He ended in the pot.
why you use dogs to chase hungry people? Those hungry people will convert those dogs to meat.
So meat.
police. That's a very funny
They
thing.
said they went with 46 dogs. I came back with only 3.
They don't steal anything.
That follows.
It's a very interesting thing. The other thing about this is that the Nigeria police as an institution is just sinking in terms of its image.
Like every other institution in the country, to be honest.
Because
police is in the last
also it shows that Nigeria's salvation lies in reading the very books we turn away from.
Yeah, no, that's the truth.
The protesters ignore the books. The police
Arrested the books.
but didn't arrest the idea.
You cannot arrest an idea. You cannot. So you want to check the physical materials.
Yes.
The essence of it, the spiritual content have been consumed by human capital. And those human capital are also the ones who led the way for the unschooled to even protest.
Very true.
Because in the dictionary of the unschooled, there's nothing like a peaceful protest.
Yes.
It will make sense.
Yes.
It will make meaning to them. They feel that protest should be about destruction.
Exactly.
So that you will not and feel the pain and come and address them. But for the learned, those ones whom the police are referring to, I said, those ones believe in peaceful work.
Yes.
And when they are doing that, everybody is alert. The international community, everybody is calling on the government and say, what is going on?
Yes.
So that for the learned is enough. But for the school, it's just about go there, destroy anything.
Did you see them looting a police signboard in Kano?
Yes, now they carried everything, including signboard.
What are they going to do with this one?
During the EndSARS, they took over the High Court.
Big money.
Took over, entered the judge's chamber, brought the wig and the judge.
They entered High Court in Kano this year, sir. Yes, I carried the judge's wig.
And the wig, and conducted trial.
This again in that governance. In Kano, in that High Court.
Kano too, they took over police van.
The APC.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was driving it all over town.
All over the place. So
I was even afraid for them. What falls from that one? You also saw one high-rate police van driver who was spraying hot water at people, lost control of the APC, hit their own vehicle and killed one of his colleagues.
Yeah.
Also in Kano.
So
very unfortunate.
Policemen can't do this.
Very interesting and very unfortunate. When we return, Mr. Evans Ufeli will be examining the role of naked women in political protests in Nigeria. Don't go anywhere.
Middleman.
welcome back. My case, naked women. Social media went abuzz on July 23rd, 2020, when hundreds of women, mostly naked, staged a protest in the northwestern state of Kaduna, Nigeria. Wailing and rolling on the ground, they protested at the killing of people in ongoing attack on their community. The protesters, mostly mothers, demanded justice and called on the government, security agencies, and international community to intervene. Such naked protests are not new in Nigeria. Traditionally, among the Igbos and Yorubas of Nigeria, stripping naked signifies a curse against those targeted. Sometimes, mothers strip naked to put a curse on their trounced sons or disloyal husbands. In some cases, it signifies their willingness to die for a cause. Nigerian women have historically employed naked protest to seek redress with success. Through the spectacle of such protests, women have rewritten the script of their bodies and used nakedness as an instrument of power rather than shame in making their voices heard. Historically, in non-Western worlds, women have used their bodies to protest unacceptable treatment by those in power. In Africa, the nakedness of women, especially mothers and grandmothers, is a historical and symbolic shaming tactic. Women enacting nakedness on their own terms to disrupt dominant notions that depict their body as passive, powerless, or as sexual object for sale. Now, during the ongoing End Bad Governance protest just last week, a man took off his clothes and emerged naked with his phallus dangling ingloriously. Nothing changed thereafter. Nothing has changed till now. Is the potency of the female protesters a skill set or providence? What is the value of a man's nakedness? My verdict: when 200 million people go naked for this government, the president may consider the Bangladesh prime minister's route. No man is stronger than all men. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Maybe it's the potency of the woman's breasts as opposed to the man's scrotum. Scrotum. There's a comedian who was saying scrotum. Anyway.
Sukrutum.
Sorry, scrotum.
He's not a comedian, he's on the vagina. Talk about the sukrutum is not working.
The man's scrotum is not working. Like the female naked breast is working. You know that the woman is a natural, right? So if she comes naked and swears for you with that nakedness, you know, we believe in Africa that it has spiritual connotations. We have not tested the efficacy of the male
Sukrutum.
But I absolutely agree with your verdict that if 230 million, thereabout of us in Nigeria come out naked, because what has made the hashtag End Bad Governance successful is that it happened across the country. What has made it not as potent as we hoped it would be was a lot of us were just about our hustles, you know, that these ones that are protesting, nothing will come out of it, and we just, again, like I mentioned in my own case, we're seeing so many military interreg now that were not actually used to the tenets of democracy, how positive citizenship ought to hold every democratic government accountable, and that unless and until we come together, because listen, we have 30,000, 40,000 police officers in Nigerian police force. If they come out and face 230 thereabout million of us, how many of us can they kill? We saw it happen in Kenya. Eventually, the police put down their arms. The IG of police, you know, resigned. You know, so unless and until all of us agree, and we thought that hunger was something that united us, because I mean, poverty has been weaponized. But if all of us came together with one voice and said, listen, you cannot be buying private jets, presidential yacht, 21 billion for vice presidential lodge, SUV for judges, for National Assembly, for president's wife that doesn't have constitutional position, and be asking the rest of us to sacrifice. You know, so I absolutely agree with your verdict. Unless and until we as Nigerians say enough is enough, our political elite will continue to take us.
So I feel that the potency of the woman's naked protest is evident. It has been tested, it has been tried, and it works. I remember then in the village when it's planting season and some persons are presumed or some persons are believed to have held the heavens not to release rain. The women will assemble themselves in the night and they will protest naked. And once that is done, after 2-3 days, you see the heavens will give rain. So much so that those who are believed to be holding those is superstition, but it's a fact. They will give way because that protest will soil whatever
it's a superstition. Major Fasher did not go naked anywhere, and anytime he calls rain, it rains.
So that is the case. Now, when that man took off his dress, I thought that this will infuriate the government enough. That the government will find a way.
Now today we don't see naked men.
The government will find a way to evaluate the situation and see that this is hopelessness. And when a man took off his dress, he's cursing the persons who are responsible for his plight and all that. But days after, the president came and even did the worst by delivering a speech that did not even take cognizance of any naked person or anybody that is hungry or whether you are.
Did the president talk about any human being that was killed during this protest?
He didn't talk about. He said people died.
They died.
He said they died.
Not that they were killed. And he said the protest was a political agenda.
Yes, to talk about.
You remember President Buhari also said the NSAS protest was to remove him from office.
Now,
how dissociated can a leader be?
My own, the people that died or were stabbed in the UK that has led to protests and it's becoming a national issue. People die in Nigeria on a daily basis, like in the hundreds, and nobody gives you
statistics.
You saw that headline protester who went naked. I mean, not advocate nakedness in protest, but like Pastor said, he didn't even reckon for anything. It passed. I have only one thing to say on Barrister's case. Barrister, you see, I used to tell Moses in the past that the fruit Adam and Eve ate that opened their eyes to see that they were
naked
and that they now knew good and evil. That fruit, they didn't finish it. This Nigerian political class,
they are eating the rest.
That's the food that they're eating. So anything.
Are they becoming wiser though?
No. It's a cost now. Anything, it's a cost. And when the man's cost is bigger than the one you're going naked to give to him, it will just enter into subsume neutralize it. So when you protect, anything you bring up, haven't you noticed? They have a way of relativizing issues and going around things and just and it will not matter to them. For me, that in itself is judgment. That what is repulsive, what is inglorious, what is infamous will happen, and for you, it should
doesn't make any sense to you at all. And that is spiritual because you see that guy.
Very good point.
Possibly had taken this protest as his last hope, because when a man takes off his dress, he has given up on life. Yeah, that's what it is. So if we don't have enough conscience to interpret those happenstance,
yes,
and we are not able to interrogate them properly, you will find that when the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem, what happened? Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentation, and he was lamenting for close to 1 month and writing. Okay, now he did that up to the point where that the government of the day had to intervene in Israel as a result of a man's lamentation day and night for months. Government should be able to say something to address that issue. But here the government came and then took his eyes away and started telling us about manifestos.
Danfo drivers go naked every day for last man, nothing.
Abio.
In Lagos.
Jeremiah is
for me, I'll just briefly chip in that our leaders have gone to the level of shamelessness that they don't even care if they die in the office or they die in the process. But one interesting thing is that look at the trend. Right from independence right down, where are their children? 9 and 4 years. Yes.
Very true, sir.
When they ignore the people, conveniently, providence will write them off. And the future posterity will have no place.
Posterity will judge them. True.
So, when we return, Jurosiri Abaku will be gauging the rising tide of rebellion the president continues to face from politicians in the north, some of them using his latest speech as basis. Stay with us.
Middleman.
You're welcome back. This is still the middleman. My case, Tinubu's empty speech. The following is a quote. I listened to Mr. President's speech with rapt attention and with all humility and courage. What he said was empty. He did not agree with the situation. He did not address the problems and challenges. The problems are not his alone, but for all of us leaders, from the presidency to the subnational down to the local government. The new policy thrust of the federal government is not working. They have to understand that, and it is their problem and their program that has caused all these problems. So they have to change. I have heard, and with regrettable attention, some of the ministers of the federal government saying that we have been given 70 trucks and 500 and something million. How much did the federal government make? And what did they do with it? End quote. Those were the words of Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State. They are not mine. And if the president is careful enough, he would have noticed that there's enough rebellion coming from one state. Senator Abdul Ningi, who publicly challenged him some months ago, is from Bauchi State. And now, the governor himself. My verdict. In attempting to tighten his politics so well, the president is lagging behind in policy. That, in turn, is fast becoming his Achilles heels. Mr. President, your policy is what will earn you a legacy, not your politics. Focus on policy and fix Nigeria.
Is he really aware? I don't think he is.
The man is not a man of policy. He's a man of politics.
He's a politician.
Yes, so politics is what you
Nigerian
understand.
Politics 101. Tinubu is the lecturer, professor of politics in Nigeria.
That's what you understand.
Okay, Bakasi was saying that the people who know the theory and mannerisms of protests are the ones in government now. All of us are learning work when Tinubu are in protest now.
Very
Somebody
well.
that even ran away. You know,
I think we are forcing Tinubu to lead.
Yes, now.
Tinubu
just wants to be there.
Tinubu has never been a leader. In the sense of economic management.
True.
He has been able to groom what you call the proteges and mentor people, okay, and largely so have been generous to people he has been generous to. But as to managing a country, managing this size of the economy and then bringing it to fruition and lifting people practically out from poverty, it's not Tinubu's thing. That was why he could not address the issue. He left the issue and went back to politics. What you understand?
Manifesto.
Yes. So he started talking about more promises.
I will do this, I will do that. He was saying that he said that he would cultivate, was it 20 million acres? And Rufai asked, last year you said you would cultivate 500 acres. You haven't done that. You are promising more. Now, the issues for me in this is that when we're saying the northerners are now protesting, because I heard this a lot on X, against a southern president. Tinubu is not the southern president, he's a Nigerian president for me. The issue here is that during the NSAS protest, right, the southerners who refused to protest, they weren't hungry. The northerners are the ones who poverty is biting. Is 70% poverty in the north. In the southeast, maybe they say 3.7%. In the west, it's like 40%.
Now look at the trap. Look at the trap that Tinubu set for us. While he was campaigning, he was talking about Ewagari, Cassava, Agbado. He was talking like he
can't buy the Agbado anymore.
Yeah, he was talking like he understood cost of living
and hunger.
Because his protest, his campaign was primarily on cost of living.
food.
Yes, and that's cost of living.
Yeah.
Sustenance.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes.
But when he won now, he cannot translate. That's why I say he's a politician.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. You are judging Tinubu by his silence, right? Because your conclusion would have been apt if we were judging him by, he got into government and then he said, this is our fiscal policy, this is our monetary policy, this is what we found on ground. Okay, so how are we going to solve the problems that we have inherited? We are going to do this and do that. He does not. Now, plus what you were saying, if he was a magician 24 years ago, he's now old. The things I could do 20 years ago, I cannot do them.
Lagos state governor, he didn't govern well.
So I'm even saying that if they said he was governor for 8 years and he could do this, he did that in that time. Look at all of his star boys. Wale Edu, Cardozo, who seem to be doing magic because Obasanjo, and I need to correct this. Everybody keeps on saying that President Obasanjo held on to Lagos state funds. No. President Obasanjo held on to Lagos state local government funds. Tinubu was getting Lagos state funds. Research it. He was now using the Lagos state funds to manage the local government. He appointed his boys, as the chairman of the LCDAs that he created. What caused problem was you had 20 local government, you wanted to create 37 more. Presidency said, no, we cannot afford it, and held on to the funds that ought to have been given to you. Coming back to that anyway, the star boys in his government, they are now, some of them are now ministers. Again, it seems like compensation to his loyalists, his mentees. Look at Tech Fund, right? That is funding for education. You went to bring former speaker who is known for, let me not slander him, People are now saying that the Tinubu that you told us knows how to recruit the best hands from all over the world because he did it when he was governor. Now he's recruiting people like Beta Edu, and funny, Uju, who is using 20 million.
He's compensating them for job they did. He's compensating them for job they did during his campaign. I mean, and when he talked about even was asking us to recruit how many million people into the army and give them agbado and all those kind of things. Yeah, so the president needs a lot of schooling, but he's not teachable. He's not a teachable person. He needs to learn how to lead, and the earlier he does that, the better for him.
But somehow we could say it is uncharacteristic for governors sometimes, in particular in Nigeria, to take on the president this way. If you know what I mean. You can disagree sometimes on issues, but apart from the Amechi,
so those will be encouraging them.
Apart from the Amechi, Jonathan, Rufai didn't really oppose Buhari, but it was more like siding with Tinubu, okay? But the way this governor sounded, did you see the things he was saying? He said with humility and courage. That this man is not the one talking there.
He has even declared.
Serious. Let them fight themselves now.
2027 for president. But the big masquerade will be unveiled.
I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, Rufai's son was saying that you go and try and campaign for Tinubu for 2027 in the north and see what will happen.
You see,
the way it is going,
it's very simple. You see, somebody like Tinubu thinks he's a don. Look at The Godfather, the book and the movie.
Yeah.
Corleone was, in charge of everything.
Yeah.
But of course, there is always a cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
The most powerful man is the weakest man.
Yes.
Because he's as strong as his weakest link.
Very true.
And what was the weakest link? His son. Sonny Corleone. His bad temper. His vile temper. And that was where
they entered him through.
They got him squarely. So, they only took Tinubu's script. Don't forget some of these people were with Tinubu those days. I think I've been with him as far as 1992.
They are 5 and 7 now. I'll be 5 and 6.
They just took his script. The script he played that day, Jonathan.
That he mentored them with.
Yes. And then that's what they have played against him. And you know what? If I'll just analyze the situation, with benefit of hindsight, having been a witness to a lot of political developments in Nigeria for more than 30 years. I said, the North actually set a trap for Tinubu, which he walked into. If he was really a master strategist, like they call him, he would have done some things to prevent the protest from even happening at all.
That is the thing.
Now, they not allowed the protest. They allowed the structure.
And they came out more than the South.
Yes, it was a trap. Their people were killed. Their people were arrested. Their facilities were destroyed. Let me tell you, Jonathan didn't even go do as much as this.
And they removed him.
Just 11 months after he entered into office, and the North ran Tinubu, the North aided by Tinubu, rallied against him. Remember in 2011, Jonathan invited Tinubu to a meeting at the State House here in Lagos, where he begged him to support him, in the election.
In the election, and
Tinubu agreed. If you remember, Fashola issued a statement, and then within just a little while, he reversed that statement. So that was in 2027, where they condemned the election, but later
2027.
No, that was
2017.
2007.
2007.
Then by 2011, you saw that Tinubu abandoned no rebuttal.
Yes, so
who was
his own candidate.
Not only Osun. Now that's where he and Ralph Aregbesola started. But Ralph felt this is not principled politics. That this one is a man. Even if you have a pact with Jonathan, you shouldn't make it so
obvious.
Now he went and turned against Jonathan. And don't forget, these people they've not forgotten. Now, they're not
disloyalty.
So basically, people were saying the South is the
so he's reaping what he's.
No, beyond that, the North didn't need the Southeast to protest. It was even good that the Southeast didn't, that the protests were muted in the Southwest. Because Tinubu himself actually killed the basis to compare and say, look at. So now, the North has sent him a memo, clear memo. Fine, finish your first year, but it's second term.
Don't try it.
It will not go anywhere. The Aerofire who introduced Muslim ticket to him in 2021 is out. All the key people who helped him are moving out. By next year, you see what will happen. A lot of them will begin to desert him, like they did to Jonathan. So the thing is this: the lesson is that politicians in Nigeria should learn to be principled. Then two, I'll take the instance of the PM, the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, who campaigned on anti-mass immigration. He was telling people we will control immigration, and then they threw the conservatives out, brought him in, then they took to the street. Okay, implement it now, start deporting people. And then you started drawing back. The next thing, they became violent. And you are now issuing threats and you do the man is rattled because he knows. They've asked him, what you promised us, come and deliver.
And they soon tell him to come for snap elections.
Good.
Where his party will be thrown back.
Thrown back. And Labour, I think apart from Tony Blair, Labour has not really had a long...
Yes. No, the list is heavily conservative. Heavily conservative.
So Nigerian politicians must learn, and I see there people on social media trying to draw.
But you see the real danger. You see the real danger if they're not pulled out from Tinubu for a second term. Tinubu cannot rally the Southeast.
No. That
was going to go there.
That means he has failed.
And the North Central.
Yeah, that means he has failed. Because you cannot use just
the West,
the Southwest. Because the South, they are indifferent about it.
Where you even lost elections. Do you know that in 2011, after the elections, there was a political intelligence report that was written where they said that if the Northwest and the Southwest came together in a coalition, that they could take government. And that was what they did in 2015. If you check it very neatly, you can still find pockets of PDPs in northeastern states. But in the Northwest, they've sort of, as people say on the state, globalize it, Southwest and Northwest, they've given that impression that that's their territory. Northwest and Southwest, yes. So I was going to go there. Tinubu cannot rally the Southeast into a coalition.
He cannot.
It will be difficult for him because you need the Southwest and traditionally speaking, the North Central. Look at the Jonathan and Obasanjo examples.
Even if you release Nnamdi Kanu, they will still not. You cannot stick with them.
But I see him making the attempt. You know why? Because that would be the.
It's a lifeline for him.
Yes, it will be his last ditch effort.
But even if it is
it won't work. No, not that it
won't work. Let me tell you.
It won't work again.
Nnamdi Kanu really doesn't have that.
Gentlemen, we are now discussing politics.
No, hold on. In the Senate, you have
Akpabio. We focus on good governance.
Wait, you have Akpabio South. But now the deputy Senate president is Northwest. You have House of Reps. The speaker is Northwest. The deputy speaker is Southeast. Okay. Then chief judge Southwest, president Southwest. Vice President, Northeast. The North Central is entirely out of the equation. So you cannot rally the Southeast and North Central over on top waiting.
It can't work.
Even in the Southeast, they give us an America. What will I give to North Central? So clearly the man has been boxed into.
But sometimes these permutations can be destroyed by vote buying.
Well, let's see how it goes.
And using INEC as the one that will not allow
as the number 12 player,
as the joker.
So when you do that, you don't have a problem.
Well, this has been some sort of very heated, but shall I say, inspiring, motivating, captivating day we've had here on The Middlemen. Thank you, jurors, for being here today.
Always a pleasure.
From the juror from Rabbi Evans Ufeli, attorney at law, to Juror Jumoke, to Juror Emeka Madunagu. It's been a joy having you all on the program today. Now, that's all on Middlemen today. Thanks for your company. And we do hope you join the conversation by dropping your comments and subscribing to our page here on YouTube and across all social media. We're at Enterprise TV7. Until we come your way again, from all of us, it's
bye for now.
Middleman.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.